People are starting to get their over-under win total bets in here for the upcoming 2023 regular season. So let's take a look at the win totals here. Major League Baseball win totals here. So no shock at the top. We got the Astros, the Dodgers, the Mets, Braves, Yankees, Padres. We got the Blue Jays, Cards, Phillies. I'm not going to name them all off, but yeah, no big shock at the top. The Astros won the World Series last year. They're the favorite this year, deservedly so. It's kind of funny looking at the bottom of it. The Oakland A's, 59.5. I know the Nationals. I think the Nationals, they got a lot of good young players. They might overachieve a little bit. I could see the Reds going under that number. The Pirates, the never-ending rebuild. So that's the list of teams. Now, Ian and I have compiled our 3 favorite MLB over-under win totals here for the season. And I'm going to get us started here. One of the teams who's fairly high on that board, I like the New York Yankees to go over their win total of 94.5 wins. This one's coming in at even money. The Yankees are a great regular season team. And I would argue that New York was actually unlucky offensively in 2022. They finished 27th in batting average and balls on play. Despite this, they finished 2nd in runs and 4th in OPS. 99 wins last season, plus they're going to have an easier schedule this season. I think on paper, they're better than last year's team, and the number of divisional games for each team will decrease from 76 to 52 this season. So fewer games versus other top contenders like the Blue Jays and the Rays. And this might be the best starting rotation in baseball. Top 4 of Cole, Rodon, Nasty Nestor, and Luis Severino. That's pretty stacked. The bullpen should be healthy and rock solid per usual. Yankees, quite simply, are a great regular season team. And I like them to go over that 94.5 wins. Ian, who are you looking at for your first pick here?
Starting off, I'm going to take a look at Seattle. The Mariners are going to go over the Mariners win total, 87.5. One of the best young cores in baseball. You got Julio Rodriguez, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert. And I think the key to the Mariners going over this win total is Jared Kelenic, the outfielder for them, who was a highly touted prospect, was a little bit disappointing last year, but has looked good so far in spring training. I think if he can be a solid member of that outfield and a solid bat, I think that's going to be enough to take the Mariners over 87.5 wins. And also, don't forget, this is a player, Joe, you and I are familiar with, Teoscar Hernandez. Great addition by the Mariners this offseason. Not only is he a solid outfielder, but he gives them some much-needed veteran leadership on this offense. And the Mariners get to take advantage of a relatively weak AL West. I think the Astros might take a little bit of a small step back. The Angels and the A's absolutely stink, and we'll see what we get with the Rangers. But still, I think the Mariners are firmly the second best team in that division, and I think they go over 87.5 wins.
Yeah, I like the Mariners. Pretty good starting rotation there as well. So I'm going to, for my next bet, this is the easiest bet on the board here, guys. Another AL West team. Just take the Angels to go under their win total of 81.5. Also at even money on this one. Where are you getting this number from? 81.5? The last time LA topped this number was back in 2015. This is the most top-heavy team in the game. Yeah, pretty good. 2 players at the top, pretty damn good in Trent and Ohtani. But have you checked the back end of that rotation? How about the bullpen? How about 6 to 9 in the batting order? This is not a 500 baseball team. And the temptation to trade Shohei Ohtani will absolutely be there if they get off to a bad start. He becomes a free agent in the offseason, and they'll be able to get an absolute boatload for him prior to the deadline. Teams like the Dodgers and Mets will be interested in signing him in the offseason. Will be eager to go all in and get a head start on signing him by getting him on the roster early. Angels, no-brainer, under 81.5 wins. Ian, what's your next pick here?
Next up, I'm going with my favorite under win total bet, and this one's probably not going to be a popular one because this has been the sexiest team of the offseason, but I'm going to go San Diego Padres under 93.5 wins this baseball season. I know they got had a pretty big offseason there. Signed Xander Bogaerts, The top of the order should be strong, but I don't think they have a ton of offensive depth. And even with the top guys, paying some sexy names a ton of money to try to pay for wins doesn't always work out. And let's not forget, this is a team that finished 6th in close game win percentage last season, and they still only finished with 89 wins. So that means they got to win 5 more games than they did last year, with some expected regression in the close game win percentage in a division that has the LA Dodgers. I just don't see it happening. Sure, they'll be a good team. I don't think they go over 93.5 wins. And also their biggest weakness, one that not a lot of people are talking about, is their bullpen lacks depth. Josh Hader stinks. He had a 5.22 ERA last season. They have Roger Suarez and Luis Garcia, 2 decent relievers, and then that's it. That lack of bullpen depth is going to cost them in the long run this season. I'll take Padres under 93.5 wins.
Padres, yeah, you can't buy a championship. Just ask the New York Yankees about that, right? Yeah, we'll see how Juan Soto does. Big contract year for him too, I believe. So yeah, it'll be an interesting season in San Diego. Okay, my final favorite over-under win total pick, maybe a bit under the radar with this one. I like the Orioles to go over their number of 76.5 wins. So massive jump for the O's last season, got up to 83 wins. Probably overachieved a bit, sure. But this year's version of the team could be better, especially with the addition of Rookie of the Year favorite Gunnar Nelson. And, of course, the schedule shakeup here, major advantage for the Orioles. The Orioles might benefit more than any other team from the new schedule format. So 24 fewer divisional games for every team. That's a lot less games versus the Yankees, Blue Jays, and Rays for the Orioles. And they finished strong last year. They finished 4 games above 500 in the second half last season. I think they could pick up where they left off. Second half of 2022. Give me the Orioles over 76.5 wins. Ian, bring it home for us. Your final MLB over-under win total pick.
Yeah, I have an over bet. I'm going to go with the Cleveland Guardians over 86.5 wins. People forget this team was one of the best pitching teams in Major League Baseball last year. Finished the year 6th in Major League Baseball, 4th in the American League in team ERA. And this is another team like the Mariners that I think will take a step forward with some of their young talent. Tristan McKenzie, great step forward last year. I think he'll take another step forward this year. Stephen Kwan finished 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting last year. Josh Bell, I think, was a nice off-season pickup for them. I think they're going to improve this year, improve off of their success from last season. And also, someone has to win this AL Central, which is the weakest division in all of baseball. I think that someone is the Cleveland Guardians. I don't know if they'll reach 90 wins or mid 90s, but I think they're going to win high 80s, and that'll be enough to win the division and cash the over 86.5 wins for us this season. So Cleveland Guardians over 86.5 wins.